Hello friends, today we will see what is in detail Angular JS properties. The first property is the $HTTP service. So what is a service? A service in Angular JS is an object with methods and properties that serve a particular function. So suppose I want to make an HTTP request and I wait for the response. I will use a service. Then the name of that service is HTTP, as you can see. So now HTTP will just get the response and will just display it in the div which we want to display it in. So HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So now in these lines, in the line number 7, you can see I'm highlighting the text. Let app is equal to angular.module. So what will happen is Angular.module is an Angular API which registers Angular functionality for a particular segment of HTML code. So suppose this is my segment of HTML code. So this is my uh, this is my segment of HTML code, and then ng hyphen app, that is the directive, will name this as Gaurav. So to access this div and give it AngularJS properties, we have to write ng. So then we will in the controller function I will get a callback function, and I will just use http get html. Then I will use then, and then let me see, then wait a minute, some header function response. Yeah, I think it is correct now. So now what I have done is I have just used the get method to get this header file, and then when I receive the response, uh, after getting the file, I will just in the dummy ID I will store the response data. So suppose you want JSON data, then you have to use the function JSON.stringify. So that is JSON.stringify. Now response data is over. So now we will move to the next um, method. So after get post method is also supported. So here you have to write this post and it will support. Then put supported, delete options, patch, everything is supported. And what is the use of this $HTTP? So again, suppose that I have home page and there are usable components. The header should be on all the pages, footer on all the pages, sitemap on all the pages, menu bar on all the pages, and nested menu items should on all the pages, gradients and shadows dot all the pages, animations dot all the pages. So what will happen here is I will create a home page. Inside that I will use the HTTP protocol 6 times, and then I will place the exact header.html contents in the exact top. So that I will do using CSS and Angular. So to position it to correctly, I will use CSS, and then I will use Angular. So now the use of this is that reusable components. So code is, you have to code less, then the errors are less because only one point of centralization is there. So now we will see the next next you can say service. The next service is dollar URL location. So location specifies the uh, absolute absolute URL uh, in local dot abs URL. Yeah, so this is a function that will show the exact areas you're in. So how to define function? Now we'll go to scope variable. How to define functions in scope variable? So we write scope dot my function is equal to function that argument list. And so what is already we have discussed this. The scope is a variable which is used is an object which is used for one module. So each module have a different scope. The scope can contain functions as well. So scope dot my function is equal to function with these arguments and this body. So that is the use of scope function. The next important thing is the very common thing is tables. So how to generate tables using Angular data? Suppose I have a dollar scope who has a property names and it is an array. A is there, B is there, C is there. Suppose there are three elements. So how to use this to populate a table? So what I will do is I will just write table tag. In that table tag I will write tr, that is table row, and insert then again tr. So now sorry, yeah, I will write td. So now yeah, there are three. So the in the tr tag I will just write ng repeat that you studied, and it will have x in names. After having x in names, wait a minute. Yeah, so what we just brush up. This is a table. Table has rows and the rows has I think you already know this tag, so no need to explain it. So if this aims contains an scope dot names, if it is an array, so x represents the current element. So what we'll just do is this will create a row, a single column. So suppose the output of this will be A, B, C. But suppose I change something, it will not work. So ng repeat is just as me just repeat the rows, and in each row you take the variable x in the array and just output in the td. So suppose my array I had an object. Suppose I had an object and my object was name Gaurav and age 30. So this is my object. In that I will write another object. This is an array. So I'm just copying it and pasting it, and it will be Arya. Age is 20. This is the hint. So for x in names, if I want a multiple, I will just write your x dot name and make another column x dot age. This is an expression, so in curly braces, double curly braces. So this will create a two column, three. two column and in yeah, it will have two columns. So now we will see a very important uh, property, that is angular JS. You can say model to uh, no, sorry, view to model. So what happens is, suppose I want a particular action when a button is disabled, then that change in the view should be reflected in the model as they are closely connected. So, now the next thing is ng show and ng hide. Ng show, if true, then display is blocked or any other. Ng hide, if true, then display none. Not in block. Now, if you study basic model and bind, so here we also ng model, ng bind, ng repeat. Yeah, so now we will see uh, ng wait a minute. Hello friends, now we'll see how the switch statement works in AngularJS. So I am writing one form as the form tag. Inside the form tag, there will be a select which will tell it, uh, it so ng, so ng model. So what this will do is, on my bar, on my bar. So what this ng model will do is, it will bind the contents of the view to the model. So now we will just have an option text, option value is equal to a, that option is, so I have three options. Yeah. So now I will use a switch statement. This is the ng switch statement. So ng switch is the parent and takes this order. So if my suppose anyone has chosen A, so the switch case will be A. So I will just close this, and inside this I will write my conditions. So div ng switch, then when is equal to dogs. So suppose is equal to sorry, switch is equal to a. Wait a minute. So switch is equal to a. Then I will write welcome a, and this paragraph I will close. I will go again and again I will type closing div tag. Now again another condition, ng switch when it is equal to b, then I will write in the paragraph welcome b. So we will not go to c. So these are the two options that are there. So now this was about the switch statement. Just remember this ng switch defines as it will requires a variable. So it gets a variable from the select model. So this variable I will just compare this with a. So I will sorry. Yeah. No, so this is the switch statement. Hello friends. Today we'll see how to use the root provider to make requests from other websites. So now we have to, for this we have to have a module helper. So what is a module helper? In AngularJS there are some modules which are predefined. Like suppose that the service HTTP is predefined. So like that ng-root and many other ng-root and ng-if, many other you can say uh, modules are defined in the uh, Angular. So to define uh, Angular JS, you define Angular JS module. If you want to not to define, to gain access, use Angular object dot module for your module. First it will be your module, my module, and in this it will the next argument is array. So suppose I want a module, then b module. So I will write two, but I want only single. That is ng-root. The ng-root is a built-in module of Angular, and see it provides the REST API functionality. So let's see one by one the steps. So first I assign app to the application. Inside the app I have to do config. So in config I get a callback function that is now in that root provider. I will have to write my redirected code. So the config stands for configuration. It takes one callback function with a parameter, and then I will just add root provider dot when home page stands for home page slash bar. So it will hit this URL. So suppose I'm clicking on the menu, so it will go to the this page. It will go to main dot. So template URL is equal to main dot HTML, and then we can close it. So now what has happened is this root provider is supplied by this ng root module, and this root provider has the property that when it will be takes the URL and it will just uh, sorry just take the object as. So now how to connect this uh, to the view? So just you have to have a ng view directive. Ng view directive just places the result of the root provider inside it. This was now we will study what is angular copy. Suppose I have a super user, so I have super user data, super user data. But in the thing is that super user data is a object. It is some object, and I am Gaurav. So what I want to do is I want to get this super user's name. So what I will do is I will just I use the Angular API. So it is angular dot copy dollar scope dollar dot master dot name. So this will allow me to get access to the name of the super user. So this is the Angular API. Scope dot master is the super user and dot name is the name of super user. So the most important use of this is whenever a form is being filled and the user has uh, uh, wants to reset to the original values. So in whatever was in master dot name has been copied to the other. Suppose I will just write. So if scope dot master dot name gets deleted, it is still there in the app, so you can have a backup. Suppose you can say I'm having a form. Inside that form, there are multiple input elements like this. So now what happens is, suppose you can say I entered Gaurav in the first, and by mistake I entered a wrong. So what will happen is I will click on the reset button. So when I click on the reset button, to change the angular to bind the you can say view functionality to the model. The model is updated accordingly using angular dot copy. So what will happen is angular dot copy will get it to its initial state. So angular dot copy will reset the angular dot copy will reset the form to its initial state. That is the angular API. Just you have to call this function scope dot reset. Now we see what is filters and its parameters. Filters are conversions of a model to a different number. So suppose I have a number and I want it to have a currency of rupees. So what will happen is, yeah, and this is dollar. So what will happen is, if number is 10, then output of this is an filter is also an expression. So you have to use the double quotes. So what will this do is, so now we'll just write, yeah. So now this will change the currency. So the output will be $50. So how to use the ng include? Just include a HTML file, type ng include is equal to, this will include this file.